a Maha battle. That's right, voting has almost ended. Just the last few voters left in the big battleground states of Maharashtra and Haryana. And in a few moments from now, we will finally be in a position to slowly start giving you what our exit poll is saying. Remember, Election Commission rules don't allow us to give those figures till voting is completely over. That's what we're waiting for now. Let's bring you the big headline. But our focus this evening is squarely on Maharashtra. Remember, what we are now getting reports of is moderate voting. Last time the voting percentage was 59% in Maharashtra. It'll be roughly around then, could cross 60%, but clearly not very high voter, not 70% plus. That's very clear in Maharashtra. Across the day, the netas of Maharashtra have all come out to vote. Take a look at who has been voting. If you look, all the big netas of Maharashtra, they're coming out to vote. The BJP, the Shiv Sena, the NCP and the Congress are fighting this election separately. They're not in alliance. So effectively, you have a unique, almost five-party race, if you include the MNS, in the battle for Maharashtra. Of course, Mumbai has seen its fair share of celebrities, cricketers and film stars who've also come out to vote. But as I said, overall, the voting percentage is nowhere close to what they were in the general elections. And will that tell a story come this evening? Because a moderate voter turnout in a five-cornered race makes an election even more fascinating than it is at the moment, or even more difficult for psephologists to predict. Okay, with me, of course, Ashok Lahiri, who will be taking us through much of the psephology and the numbers. Also joining us, Surjit Bhalla, political analyst, political economist, and someone who has a very strong opinion as to what will happen in Maharashtra. Manini Chatterjee, National Affairs Editor of The Telegraph, still with us. And also with us, Mani Shankar Iyer of the Congress Party, Rajya Sabha MP. Remember, Congress has much at stake in this election. So Mani will be giving us his perspective through this election. Seshadri Chari of the BJP will also be joining us shortly. But the big question that we want to raise right at the very outset is this BJP-Shiv Sena alliance and how it's being played out in Maharashtra. Today, headlines today interviewed Nitin Gadkari in the morning after Uddhav Thackeray in a Samna article slammed Narendra Modi. I want to once again play that because we want to raise that big question. The BJP-Shiv Sena alliance, is it endgame for this alliance? Will this alliance survive and endure? Let's just listen in to what these two leaders had to say when we spoke to them this morning.
मोदी जी की लहर, मैंने ऐसे कभी नहीं कहा था कि उनकी लहर थी नहीं लोकसभा चुनाव में, लेकिन बाद में जो उपचुनाव हुए विधानसभा के, तो जहां से मोदी जी विजयी हुए उस वाराणसी के उनके चुनाव क्षेत्र में बीजेपी का जो प्रत्याशी था वो हार गया। जब सारे लोग लड़ रहे थे, हम भी लड़े, नरेंद्र भाई के लिए लड़े और वोट भी दिया, प्रचार भी किया, लेकिन जब जरूरत साथ चाहिए थी, अब जरूरत नहीं रही ऐसा उनको लग रहा है, तो उन्होंने साथ छोड़ दिया।
I am going to clear it very fairly that we will not tolerate any type of insults. Our Prime Minister is a respected leader of the country. He is our leader. The way in which the Samna editorial is writing about his father, it's very bad. This is not good politics. We will not tolerate that. It is the Shiv Sena. They have full right to decide about their role. Whether they want to come to BJP or not, it is their question. But this is not a way to write about a respectable leader of the party. We respect Bala Sahib, we respect Shiv Sena, but the way in which the Samna is doing, it's not correct. And we will not tolerate any type of insults. If they want to come with us, they are free. Otherwise, there's no problem. It is up to them to decide about it.
We will not tolerate insults, says Nitin Gadkari about the Shiv Sena. Joining me from Mumbai is Nikhil Wagle, one of Maharashtra's senior most journalists and editors, joins us. Nikhil, what's your sense of what is happening there between the Shiv Sena and the BJP? For a long time, we thought this was Noora Kushti, shadow boxing. Do you believe it's gone well beyond that? Do you actually believe that BJP and Shiv Sena can come together after this election if either party doesn't reach the halfway mark?
Rajdeep, anything can happen in politics, but now this is not a Noora Kushti. The bitterness has increased so much that on a voting day, Nitin Gadkari gives interviews to a number of channels and criticizes Shiv Sena and Uddhav Thackeray in harshest possible terms. He said that we will not tolerate the insult. So I think if BJP gets majority, they don't need Uddhav Thackeray. I think Nitin Gadkari has done this deliberately because he is confident that BJP will surge ahead, and if BJP gets 130 seats or 120 seats, they will not need Shiv Sena. They can form government with the help of independent. So now this is not Nura Kushti. It's terrific bitterness between both these former allies.
Are you saying, Nikhil, that Nitin Gadkari would today prefer a Sharad Pawar as a potential post-poll ally to a Uddhav Thackeray, or would prefer a Raj Thackeray to an Uddhav Thackeray?
I think Nitin Gadkari loves Sharad Pawar so much that he will definitely prefer that. He will prefer Sharad Pawar to Raj Thackeray or Uddhav Thackeray, because he has that kind of certain private alliance with Sharad Pawar. His relations with Sharad Pawar are very good, and most important point is his vested interests with Sharad Pawar are common. There are number of allegations in this PWD thing, in this Mumbai-Pune highway thing. The contractors, politician nexus, the contractors are common between Sharad Pawar and Nitin Gadkari. So Nitin Gadkari will definitely prefer Sharad Pawar to Uddhav Thackeray. And his equation with Uddhav Thackeray is bad for last 5 to 7 years. Uddhav Thackeray refused to take his phone also. So definitely, if given a chance, given freedom by Modi, Nitin Gadkari will prefer Sharad Pawar.
You know, the interesting thing is we are talking about all this because what was seen to be an election which the BJP Shiv Sena was going to win in alliance suddenly has become fascinating because they are now contesting against each other. Ashok, you wanted to make that point. That do you believe that the BJP has taken a huge gamble here? And that gamble could backfire if the Shiv Sena in this election campaign is able to play the Marathi Manus card as they have tried successfully. We'll know whether it has worked once the final votes come. Do you believe they've taken a big gamble?
I don't think so. I think BJP has done exactly the right thing. Now, you may argue that from the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, where BJP and Shiv Sena together got 48% of the votes, and they could have won 230 of the 288 seats, why take a gamble? But don't forget, BJP got 46 seats in 2009. They contested only 119. Shiv Sena contested 160. They got 44. And this seat wrangling between BJP and Shiv Sena has been for a
So you're saying Shiv Sena gains more from the BJP than the BJP gains from the Shiv Sena. But, you know, let's look at this, Surjit, in terms of arithmetic, which you're very fond of. You know, you've got an alliance which, it was a no-brainer. BJP Shiv Sena together win 180, 200 plus. Now they are fighting opposite. Do you believe votes get transferred easily? Will today the voter who has gone, who's a traditional Shiv Sena voter, is he going to shift to the BJP? Is the BJP voter going to shift to the Shiv Sena? Because this election is about that, the ability to transfer your votes rather than have those votes, because that is critical to the BJP also.
Well, 2 or 3 points. First, you said this is a big gamble. If it is, it's the best of all gambles, because you stand to gain a lot and you lose very little. So the odds, I think, are entirely in BJP's favor.
You could lose Maharashtra.
Yeah.
You
I'm
could
coming
lose
to
a
that.
state which is in your hands.
That's why all I said was that the odds are entirely in your favor. There is a 20% chance you won't get 100 seats, let's say. Okay? Then we'll all sit down over here and say they've lost it. So basically, everybody makes a calculation. Look at what are the odds, what are the chances of this happening? And I think they're very small. Then we come to your second question as to what is the voter going to do. The voter has been in a habit of voting for the BJP or the Shiv Sena. Now, what are the alternatives? The alternative is the NCP and the alternative is the Congress. Let us take for a moment, given what has happened and is happening, that the chances of a BJP/Shiv Sena voter going and voting for the NCP or the Congress is close to 0. About as much as the BJP getting 100 seats. So therefore, you remove that. Now, I come out, and sorry to disagree with my good friend Ashok, I think the BJP stands to lose tremendously if they have an alliance with the Shiv Sena, because they add, in my view, zilch.
No, that's what he's saying.
Oh,
that's what
okay,
he's saying. He's effectively saying Shiv Sena doesn't add anything.
They add zilch.
The Shiv Sena adds zilch to the BJP.
Matter of fact, I would say they add negative to the BJP. I think there will be many voters in Maharashtra who will look on the BJP afresh. They're not aligned with the Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena comes with a lot of baggage, a lot of historical baggage in India.
Let me push that point. Let me push that point because you've got people on the ground there, Nikhil Wagale and Siddharth Bhatia. Let me ask you both in Mumbai. Quick answers. Do you believe, Nikhil, BJP has taken a big gamble, or do you believe it was the right step that the BJP took in parting ways with the Shiv Sena? They will get fresh voters as a result.
I don't know whether they will get fresh voters or not, but they have played a big gamble and it will pay. I think this time it will pay because they have this Modi card. They have the only one trump card, that is Modi, and Modi effect is all over Maharashtra.
Are you saying
If
Modi
was
matters
not
more
there-
than, sorry to interrupt, are you saying Modi matters more than the old Marathi Manus? This whole idea of a Marathi Manus regional identity doesn't matter?
Marathi Manus matters to Shiv Sena and Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, but Modi matters much more than this Marathi Manus card. Marathi Manus card will benefit Shiv Sena, but Modi is a major point, or you can say major impact in Maharashtra election today. I think BJP will be #1 party only because of Modi. BJP doesn't have an influential leader. After Gopinath Munde, there is no leader who has pan Maharashtra appeal. But BJP has this Modi card, and I think this Modi card will succeed because we have seen 25 huge meetings of Modi in various parts of Maharashtra, and people are still supporting him, people are still cheering him.
Yeah, Siddharth Bhatia, do you accept that Modi is the only pan Maharashtra leader left? There is no other pan Maharashtra leader. Narendra Modi, Gujarati, is a pan Maharashtra leader. Two states which were split apart in 1960. The Gujarati has come and conquered Maharashtra.
No, shall I just answer this one?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, now where you have to take two or three things. Outside the Bombay, Pune, Konkan and Thane regions, the Shiv Sena counts for very little. And the Marathi Manus card plays out very differently in those parts. I mean, in Vidarbha, the Marathi Manus card has absolutely no meaning. There are very, very strong local issues, the same in Western Maharashtra and all that. So it is correct to say that the Shiv Sena could have contributed something in this part of the state, but not beyond. Secondly, I think there will be transference of votes, but it will be one-sided. There is a chance that a young Shiv Sena voter, potential Shiv Sena voter, will jettison the nativist card and move towards the BJP. But there is very little chance that somebody who is enthralled by Mr. Modi, not the BJP but Mr. Modi, will move the other way. The third most important point is that the Congress, the BJP on the ground is very weak in about 100+ seats. It has no candidates, it has no cadre, it has absolutely no structure to speak of. But you have this magic icon or talisman which is going and driving this with great energy, and that might just push them over.
We are calling him a magician, and I want to bring you in, Manish Shankar here, because the fact is, interestingly, there are about 150 seats, which the BJP has not even contested over the last 20 years because of the nature of their alliance. And yet today we are talking about Modi as a pan Maharashtra leader. And many are, or I at least am likening it to Indira Gandhi in the 1970s. She would go like this, like a whirlwind to states and win state elections on her persona as Prime Minister. Would you concede today that Narendra Modi is being able to do that in states? The Congress has left a vacuum. Modi is filling that vacuum today. Would you concede he is now emerging in that true sense as a pan-Indian leader?
From what I've been able to follow, in the last election, I'm referring to the Lok Sabha election, approximately 90% of the Maharashtra seats went to a combination of the BJP and the Shiv Sena. Now we're struggling to see whether the BJP on its own will be able to reach even 40% of the seats in the election. Clearly, therefore, compared to the situation as it obtained in May 2014, there is a decline in the position of the BJP in the state.
No, hold on, Mani. That my limited point. Sorry to interrupt. The best performance of the BJP in Maharashtra was 1999, 65 seats in alliance with the Shiv Sena. Now we are actually talking, can the BJP reach the halfway mark? Do you accept that Narendra Modi, the point that Nikhil Wagale is making, that he has become a pan-Maharashtra leader, the Maharashtrian youth are being attracted to him? Do you concede that?
It's precisely that point which I was trying to make, that I don't concede it. For the reason that you want to compare it to 1999, I'm comparing it to 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I'm comparing it to May 2014, when the two parties together were able to win 90% of the seats. And today we are talking of one of the two partners, the BJP, trying to get 40% of the seats.
50%, half the seat. We're talking about half. We're talking about half.
That's on the assumption.
Okay.
That's on the assumption. When I was last here, you were talking of 133 seats.
We will see.
And today, I don't know what Ashok is going to say in a few minutes from now, but he's not a Cassandra that has always been correct.
Okay.
And therefore, I see from the newspapers that as far as at any rate these people who run the Satta Bazaar are concerned, they are giving far fewer than the 133.
Okay, so it's good. Mani Shankar Iyer is now relying on the Satta Bazaar. Indian politics has changed enough for Mani Shankar Iyer.
I'm certainly not relying on Ashok Lahiri.
You're not relying on Ashok Lahiri?
I'm giving you an alternative
you're
figure.
giving an alternative.
And I certainly have other pollsters in mind whom I cannot advertise on your show over here, but who have proved in the past to be more accurate.
Okay, I'm going to give a last word there to Manini before we take the break. This Modi factor. It appears that BJP is running a conscious strategy, local alliances at the ground level with sub-regional parties. Rashtriya, the Swabiman Sena, the RSP, small parties, and Modi at the top. Do you believe this is working? Modi at the top?
No, we'll see when the results come out. But I think in the short term, what Professor Bhalla and Professor Lahiri are saying is probably right, that they will gain electorally by breaking off ties with the Shiv Sena. But I think in the long term, you're putting all the eggs in Modi's basket when Modi is riding high.
He's Indira Gandhi. He's the Indira Gandhi.
But the comparison with Indira Gandhi.
Right, don't agree.
The comparison with Indira Gandhi is completely misplaced. But let Malini finish.
The point I'm making is that in the long term, what Modi is being seen and the BJP is in a party which is not just out to make India Congress Mukh Bharat, but they have no time for old allies.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was Haryana Janhit Congress, whether it is Shiv Sena, and now things are going well, but you can't go on breaking old friends for gains.
Okay, that's an interesting point.
So in the long term or even in the medium term, I think they've made a big mistake.
I need to take a break because my producer it's Diwali season. So he says there are more ads than necessary. So we need to take a break. We'll take a break, but that's an interesting comparison. We'll get Mani Shankar Iyer on that. Why doesn't he believe that Narendra Modi can do in 2014 what Indira used to do in the 1970s, win states on her own charisma? Back in a moment where we look more closely at why exactly are we looking at this election in Maharashtra in such an